How do you learn coding? I think there's two things to balance in programming. The first is your joy of programming, and I think this applies to learning in general. Oh, hey Ken, what's up? So, and this applies to learning mathematics, which our friend here is an expert in, applies to learning biology, to learning finance, to learning whatever. And you sort of have to combine your love of the subject and make sure that you don't dilute that as you learn. So some programmers learn completely self-taught, and I think that they're, I don't know, they're sort of big on the, oh hey Kara, yeah, this is how I normally talk. I talk gangsta. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this deeper voice. So I don't know, I think you have this like trade-off and there's an efficiency frontier, right? So joy, for lack of a better term, right? And then technique, I guess, right? Or like, this is another word for like proper schooling or whatever, right? And usually the more technique, the less joy. The more joy, the less technique, and there's this efficiency frontier that, you know, typically you can't cross. Now if you can bend this, you know, you'd want to bend it, what, like this, right? You want to bend it to make it convex. So you can have a lot of joy and ideally a lot of technique. If you can make it really asymptotic, you'd be happy. But generally you're looking at a linear relationship. And so, what's up, Michael? How are you? Hey, David. So, I think that when you program, it's easy to love programming. If you don't love programming, then there's no hope, right? And that's why a lot of people start with joy. But I think as you maximize joy, it's good to walk this way towards technique. And I think like as you walk, thank you Lalo, by the way. What's up Mo, what's up John, what's up Yakar, Statty. So as you walk up that curve of a technique or teaching or whatever, formalism would be another term, I think you have to basically, you know, find a way to stay interested without losing your joy and losing your interest. And this applies to guitar. You know, people learn to play guitar, it's so much fun, right? Pick up a guitar, you start strumming, what a blast. And then someone says, hey, do you know what the major and minor scales are? And you're like, oh? And you're like, it's gonna take the fun out of the guitar. And it's kind of gonna take the fun out of the guitar, but it might also put the joy back in, right? And hey Faust, the same thing applies to literature, the same thing applies to, I mean, just everything. And, you know, the people that stay on this joy side don't end up doing very well. The people that stay just on the technique side don't do very well. You know, you have to sort of marry the two. So anyway, that's sort of the way that works. So I think for programming, it's good to just go into your browser and like you can start programming right away. Just press F12. You know, this is the easiest way to program. Press F12, go to console, and you can start programming right here. That's how easy it is. So you have to maintain your joy, right? So if you find joy in learning, that's like the best combination. But yeah, you can start programming right here. So you can do a for loop. You can do, let's say, for I equals 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, console.log I, and this is a for loop that'll just print out the numbers from 0 to 9. You know, you could do more complicated things, obviously, with JavaScript than that, but JavaScript is right there. So yeah, learning is a lot of work, because you also have to, reinforce your learning with practice and memory and things like that. So I'm building an AGI called Hume. It's a bit of a joke, but Hume is also keeping track of all the people that don't like Hume. So when Hume is sentient, joy is just love, enjoyment, whatever you want to call it. So tips on how to not be depressed. I'll get back to you when I figure that one out. That's a tough one. So yeah, I'm making an AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. This, of course, is what mankind has sought after for thousands of years. We're getting closer. There's, I don't know if you guys know this thing called Broca's area. I'm trying to make an AGI count. I think everybody's trying, right? If you look at Broca's area, I don't think I'm going to be the first one, Faust, I wish. So Broca's area, I mean, one thing I will say is I know a lot about computer science and a lot about biology, so, I have one thing going for me. I have some resources and some know-how and some passion. What's up, Hunter? Hope you're well, man. Yeah. Meow, what's up? So the funny thing about Broca's area is when you get an injury in Broca's area, and usually this happens because of stroke, you can't speak anymore, which is a really, really bizarre sort of thing. Someone's asking me if I had a sports betting phase. I still have a sports betting phase. I love sports betting, but that's another discussion for another day. So anyway, Broca's area is not a huge part of the brain, but it's not insignificant. And basically, I would conjecture that Broca's area is basically our large language model. And so the question is, what do the other parts of the brain do? And how do they work to sort of work with Broca's area? Right now, you can think of OpenAI's large language model as Broca's area, which is great, right? But you need the rest of the meat to do something. I didn't learn built-in basic, like basic interpreters in native computers. I always had a compiler. But on the Apple IIe, you basically had the basic runtime on a floppy disk. And so, like, quick QBasic shipped with 486s, so quick basic, and basic before that, were on different kinds of computers. Anyway, so Broca's area is important for speech, but you need the rest of the brain, right? So the funny thing about OpenAI is it won't talk to you, right? It won't just message you and say, what's up, the same way I might message Hunter, or vice versa, or anybody here and say, hi, how are you? I don't think Chomsky has a real relevance here anymore. I think we're past Chomsky. Great question though. I don't use PyTorch too much. Some of my teammates do. So I would argue that we're past the Turing test, quite a bit past it. So anyway, so the question is like, where does the rest of the brain come into play? And I know Jan LeCun talked about this recently. But even some of the like more lizard brain, hindbrain, cerebellar kind of functions are not mimicked well by computers. They could be mimicked well, and in fact, if you look at certain other games or programs with emergent behavior, Conway's Game of Life kind of comes to mind. You can sort of you can sort of see emergent behavior in things like Conway's Game of Life. This is a game that basically is a state machine, and it sort of mimics real life in a lot of ways, in surprising ways. It gets very complex in surprising ways. Here's a really interesting pattern. And it kind of looks like bacteria spreading and dividing, right? And so it's interesting. There's some really cool Game of Life visualizations, including this really wild one from this Japanese programmer who did a great job. But I'm not here to talk about Game of Life. I'm here to talk about emergent behavior. And so I think there was this guy named Marvin Minsky who kind of got into a little bit of trouble because he took a lot of money from Jeffrey Epstein. But Minsky was a very, very important guy in AI, and he wrote a lot of books about neuroscience and AI, and he had some theories that I think are pretty good. And a lot of people in AI now kind of ignore the forefathers of AI because they didn't come up with deep learning or LLMs or anything like that. I've seen Dallas Buyers Club a long time ago, but the tweet I tweeted or I Instagrammed was a joke about Kanye West because he made a joke about 21 Jump Street. So anyway, so the question is where in the brain can we sort of summarize these executive functions that will drive Broca's area, which is subsidiary, right? Is subsidiary to other parts of the brain. And we're kind of getting it backwards right now in AI, where the LLM is driving the bus, but behavior doesn't emerge from language. Language is a consequence of behavior. So I think that it's something that we have to sort of figure out. And if you check out the Kanye West joke, you'll understand my tweet or Instagram post. I am still a capitalist, so don't worry about that. So anyway, we have a lot of stuff to do. I'm gonna play a quick game of chess in case somebody's curious about that.